This video is about adding fractions. Now, in this particular case, we have 1/4 plus 2/4. Now, when you see digits, you might be able to work it out, but you don't really fully understand it. So it's always good to use visuals. When I say visuals, I'm referring to pictures, drawings, something you can get your hands on. And in this particular case, I have an add. So here is 1/4, and I have 2/4, and clearly, if we were to add these together, it would give us 3/4. If you were doing this with just the numerals, if they're the same denominator is the vocab, which is the part of the fraction which is below that line. The line is actually known as the vinculum. The vinculum, it separates the two into two different groups. So we have the numerator, which is the number up, denominator, D, for down. So you can remember that way. If they are the same denominator, we can keep that the same. There's 4, and we just add straight across, 3/4. So in these particular cases, it's not a problem. If the denominator is the same, you can just add straight across. However, the problems that we do seem to have is when we have perhaps, let's say, 3/12, which I can show you here. I have 1/12, a second 1/12, and a third. So 3/12. And I'm going to add that to, let's make it this one here. Can you see that? Bring this a bit closer. So this one here is saying 1/8, but I'll have 2 of them. So you can see this here is saying 1/12, but I have 3 of them. So I have 3 1/12, which equals 3/12. I have 2 lots of 1/8, which means I have 2 8s. If I join that together, that's 2 8s. If I join this one together, it gives me 3/12. Now if we look at these numbers, we probably don't know, or we can probably work it out, but we probably don't really fully understand what it means. So in this case, if I'm just looking at these materials here, if I just join them together, clearly you can see that that is equivalent to a half. Looking at this, it doesn't look like a half, we wouldn't know. So here's another half, and clearly you can see that makes 1 whole. So the materials that your teachers use are coming very handy. So let's do it without, or just have these here. We know the answer is going to equal a half. So there's different ways you can do that. These are 2 different denominators. So we need to find perhaps, we need some perhaps multiples of 8 and 12. You could do it this way. Next one would be 16. Next multiple of 12 would be 24. And I could carry these on. 16 and another would be 24, and so on and so on. Clearly I can see there is a common multiple of 24. Of 12 and 8 would be 24. So what I could do, I want to make the common denominator as 24. To make that, how many 12s go into 24? Well, it's the second multiple, so I times that by 2. What I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So I'm timesing this one by 2, times that one by 2. So that really looks like saying 6 over 24. So I want to turn this into a common denominator. This one over here, how many 8s fit into 24? 1, 2, 3. Which means if I times 8 by 3, what I do to the bottom, I do to the top. Which now says 6. 6 over 24. If I was to rewrite this, it would be 6 over 24 plus 6 over 24. And these are the same denominators, so I keep them the same. And because they're the same denominators, I can just add across. 6 plus 6 is 12. Now 12 out of 24 is correct. However, often you'll find teachers want you to simplify. And again, we wanted to break that down. And I could do it slowly, divide it by 2, because 2 fits into them both evenly. And then I could break it down more. But clearly I know 12 can fit into both 12 itself and 24. So my best answer would be 1 over 2, a half, which is clearly what that original question was. Okay, so that's just the basics of it. Have a go with some of these that I'm going to put up in a moment.